This is the Dive Into Discovery podcast, where curiosity meets insight, and every conversation uncovers a new layer of understanding.
All right, so we're diving deep today into all this research about dinosaurs,
Okay.
specifically how they went extinct.
Right.
I mean, everyone loves dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're fascinating.
But what happened to them?
Well, it's a pretty big debate still.
Yeah, was it like, bam, asteroid?
Well, the asteroid definitely played a role. We've got all this research here on the Chicxulub crater. That thing's in Mexico, right?
Yeah, and it's huge.
Huge. Like 66 million years ago, a 10-kilometer wide asteroid just smashed into Earth right there.
Whoa, 10 kilometers.
Yeah.
It's like from here too.
It's massive. And the research suggests, well, wildfires everywhere, tsunamis, and so much dust it blocked out the sun, probably for years.
A real nuclear winter situation.
Exactly. But then there's this other side to the story, too.
Oh, yeah, the volcanoes.
The Deccan Traps eruptions. This was in India around the same time.
Those were massive, right?
Oh, absolutely. The research talks about lava flows the size of France and tons of nasty gases, greenhouse gases, too, spewing into the atmosphere.
And this was all happening, what, before the asteroid?
Possibly, yeah. Some studies suggest these eruptions went on for, like, hundreds of thousands of years before the impact.
So the dinosaurs were already in trouble.
Potentially. One source here really dives into the ocean acidity. Seems like those volcanoes were making the oceans more acidic, so already messing up the ecosystems and food chains.
So it's like the volcanoes were weakening them.
Yeah.
And then the asteroid was the knockout punch.
That's a big part of the debate. Some scientists are all about the asteroid being the main cause, but others, they think the Deccan Traps were a huge factor.
Maybe even making the dinosaurs more vulnerable to the asteroid.
Exactly. Now, to untangle all this, there's this really cool research on fossilized plants from right before the extinction.
Oh, interesting.
And they tell a story. They show a decline in plant diversity, especially flowering plants.
Which are pretty important for a lot of ecosystems, right?
Totally. So this decline, it points to some serious stress, maybe from the volcanoes and the climate change they caused.
Okay, so plants were struggling. But what about the dinosaurs themselves? Any clues from their fossils?
There's this one paper that focuses on dinosaur eggshells from the late Cretaceous period. And get this, they were getting thinner?
Thin eggshells. What does that mean?
Could mean they were having trouble reproducing?
Oh, wow. So, like, their populations were already unhealthy?
Potentially. It's like all these signs were pointing to a world already in trouble.
And then, boom, the asteroid hits.
Exactly. You gotta wonder, did the dinosaurs even have a chance?
It's a tough break for them. But then, what happened after? I mean, after the immediate chaos, how did life even recover?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. The research, it paints a pretty rough picture, actually. There's this study that modeled the impact on global temperatures, and yeah, it wasn't good.
Oh.
Temperatures, they probably plunged like several degrees and stayed that way for years.
Really?
Yeah, an impact winter, they call it.
Wow. So not just the fires and the tsunamis right away,
Right.
but then the planet just gets cold.
Exactly. And the oceans, too, they were already becoming acidic, but then the impact winter on top of that, a real mess.
I bet.
Mass extinctions in the oceans, the research shows. Ammonites, you know those spiral-shelled things?
Yeah.
They were gone.
Wow. So it's like one thing leads to another.
Yeah, a domino effect.
An asteroid hits, but then the whole ocean is affected.
And the land, too. There's research on fossilized pollen, spores, all that.
Interesting.
It shows how plant communities totally changed. Ferns, they took over a lot of places.
Ferns, like the ones we have now.
Yep, those, they're tough. They can survive almost anything. Low light, tough conditions, ferns don't care.
So they took advantage of all the chaos.
Exactly. Spread like crazy. But then the question is, what about the animals? Who else made it through all that?
Right. Who survived this apocalypse?
Well, some good research on that. Seems like smaller animals did better. Mammals, birds, those types.
So not the big, strong dinosaurs.
Nope. One study suggests this because they could burrow, find shelter, and their diets, they were more adaptable.
So brains over brawn in this case.
You got it. This research, it shows how important it is to be flexible when the environment changes. Find new food, stay warm. That's how they survived.
It really makes you think, maybe the dinosaurs were already on their way out?
It's a big debate among scientists, that's for sure.
Even without the asteroid, maybe they wouldn't have lasted.
Some think so, yeah. volcanoes, the climate. It was a lot to handle.
It's like this giant puzzle, right?
Yeah.
Using fossils and all this data to figure out what really happened to the dinosaurs.
And your collection, it has this other angle, too. Mammals taking over after the dinosaurs are gone.
Oh, right, because they were just these small creatures before, weren't they?
Exactly, but then suddenly, boom, all these new opportunities.
It's like evolution went into overdrive.
Yeah, so many new species of mammals popping up.
And eventually that led to us.
Right, it's amazing to think about. Extinction, survival, and then this whole new world emerges.
Truly remarkable. And it all goes back to that asteroid, maybe.
That's what makes everyone so curious, right? What if it had missed? Would dinosaurs still be here?
It's a fun thought experiment.
Oh, totally. There's actually research on that, too.
No way, really?
Yeah, they used computer models to simulate what would happen if the asteroid hadn't hit.
A virtual dinosaur world. So what did they find?
Well, the model suggests that dinosaurs might have kept on evolving. New species, maybe even more diverse than before.
Wow.
Who knows? Maybe they would have developed some mammal-like traits, like warm blood or more complex social stuff.
Herbivore dinosaurs on the plains, feathered ones flying around. It's an amazing thought.
It is, but even without the asteroid, the research says that things wouldn't have stayed the same.
Right, of course.
Climate change, volcanoes, those were still factors. Dinosaurs would have had to adapt no matter what.
Evolution never stops, I guess.
Nope. So who knows what would have happened? Extinctions and new beginnings, that's just how life goes.
And we can learn so much from it even today.
Exactly. It makes you think about how interconnected everything is. We're all part of this delicate balance, and what we do has consequences.
We can't forget that. But, thinking about this post-asteroid world, what did it actually look like? I can imagine the destruction, but what about the recovery?
Well, there's some research that tackles that. One study used fossils to reconstruct what the plant and animal communities looked like millions of years after everything happened.
So life found a way.
Oh, absolutely. Ferns, like we said, they were everywhere at first. Probably a pretty strange world compared to the dinosaur times. But eventually, other plants came back, new forests grew, and ecosystems formed.
It's a brand new world.
Exactly. And the animals, well, one of your sources focuses on the mammals, remember, the small, adaptable ones.
Yeah.
They had a field day, dinosaurs gone, resources everywhere. They just exploded in diversity.
It's amazing how resilient life is.
Totally. Extinction events, they're devastating, but they also make way for incredible change. New species, new opportunities, that's evolution in action.
Makes you wonder what would have happened if things had gone differently.
It does. It's like the dinosaurs disappearing led to the world we know today. And we humans were part of that story too.
Wow, it's mind-blowing when you think about it like that. We've covered so much in this deep dive. It's incredible. The evidence, the theories, all the what-ifs. It's a story that's both sad and inspiring at the same time.
I agree. And I hope it makes everyone listening want to learn more. There are so many mysteries left to solve about dinosaurs and the history of life on Earth.
Absolutely. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep looking up at the stars. You never know what you might discover.
There's some research that tries to figure that out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, one study used fossils to reconstruct the plant and animal communities.
So after the impact, after everything settled down.
Right, millions of years later, trying
Right.
to see what those ecosystems actually look like.
So what did they find? Was it just barren wasteland?
Not exactly. Ferns, remember?
Right, they were everywhere.
Exactly. So those dominated for a while, probably made the landscape pretty different from, the dinosaur times. But then other plants started coming back, diversifying, new types of forests and stuff.
So life came back, but in a totally new way.
Yeah, kind of like a fresh start. And there's this research on mammals, the ones that survived.
The little guys.
Yeah. No more dinosaurs to compete with, plenty of resources. They took off, evolved into all sorts of new species.
It's like the asteroid opened up all this space for them.
Totally. They had their chance to take over, and that's how we got the diversity of mammals we see today.
It's wild to think about.
Isn't it? Extinction events, they're tragic, but they can also lead to amazing things. New species, new ecosystems, it's evolution doing its thing.
Makes you wonder, if the asteroid had missed, would dinosaurs be filling those roles today?
It's a fun thought, right? There's actually research on that, too.
Really?
Yeah, they used computer models, simulated what might have happened if that asteroid had just, whoosh, missed us.
So a world where dinosaurs never went extinct. What did those models show?
Well, it seems like they might have kept on thriving, maybe even become even more diverse.
Wow. Even more types of dinosaurs than before.
That's what the models suggest. They might have adapted to the changing climate, maybe even developed some mammal-like traits.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, maybe warm-bloodedness, to regulate their temperature better, or more complex social structures.
So picture this. Herds of giant herbivores roaming the plains, maybe with some social hierarchy like, I don't know, elephants today.
It's a cool thought experiment, but even without the asteroid, the research says things wouldn't have stayed the same. Climate change, volcanic activity, all that. Dinosaurs would have to adapt anyway.
It's a reminder that change is constant. Whether it's a giant asteroid or something else, life has to find a way.
Exactly. And that's what makes studying the past so fascinating. It helps us understand how we got to where we are today, and maybe helps us think about the future, too.
I love that. It's been such an amazing deep dive into the world of dinosaurs, their extinction, and how life on Earth just keeps going. We've talked about the evidence, the debates, all the possibilities. It's a story that's both tragic and, well, pretty hopeful, too.
I agree. And for everyone listening, I hope it inspires you to keep learning and exploring. There's still so much to discover about our planet and its history. Who knows what other mysteries are out there just waiting to be uncovered.
Absolutely. So keep those brains working, keep asking questions, and maybe someday you'll make an amazing discovery yourself. Until next time.
What did you think of this week's episode? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to join us next time as we dive even deeper. And as always, stay curious, because you never know what discoveries are just around the corner.